Let's go Broncos! Just imagine, it's week 1 of the 2026 NFL season. The sun sets behind the Rocky Mountains, the crowd at Mile High Stadium roars, and lined up on the sidelines, in orange and blue, is none other than Justin Jefferson. Yes, that Justin Jefferson, the kind of player defenses plan around all week. The kind of player who easily shakes off double teams and turns short passes into breathtaking touchdowns. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But what if I told you, it's not as impossible as it seems? Something is stirring within the Denver Broncos organization. CEO Greg Penner has made one thing clear. This team is ready to be aggressive, and not just in free agency, but on every possible front. And when you stop to analyze the current landscape, the salary cap space, the draft picks, the offensive needs, and yes, the Minnesota Vikings situation, you begin to see the outlines of a play that could change everything. I'm talking about a trade that would instantly transform the Broncos into one of the most dangerous teams in the AFC. A trade that would shift the balance of power not only in the division, but in the entire league. But before revealing all the details, are you truly a Broncos fan who has followed the team's ups and downs? If so, click the like button right now. And if you've been with this team for more than 20 years, leave a comment saying, "Go Broncos!" My heart bleeds orange and blue, because what I'm going to analyze isn't just another offseason rumor, it's a potential turning point for this franchise. Let's talk about what it would take to sign Justin Jefferson, and why the stars might be aligning for Denver to close this deal. Now, let's talk about the man of the hour, Justin Jefferson. We're not talking about a decent receiver here. We're talking about one of the most complete, dynamic, and productive wideouts the NFL has seen in decades. You want numbers? Try this: 495 catches, over 7,000 yards, 40 touchdowns, and averaging 96.5 yards per game in his first 5 seasons. That's not good. That's legendary. This is a player who doesn't just fill a role. He transforms offenses. Route running? Flawless. Yards after the catch? Elite. Separation, strength, hands, check, check, and check. There's a reason why bringing in Jefferson would be the modern equivalent of landing a Randy Moss or Terrell Owens in their prime. And yet, the Vikings might be willing to let him go. Let's pause here. That might sound crazy, but when you dig into the financial and football reality in Minnesota, it starts to make sense. The Vikings are in cap hell, sitting second to last in active cap space across the league. That's a brutal place to be, especially when you're staring down a $39 million cap hit for Jefferson in 2026. Yes, that's a massive number, but smart teams find ways to manipulate the cap, restructure deals, spread bonuses, add void years. The Broncos, with the wealthiest ownership in the NFL, can absolutely make the numbers work. The Vikings, on the other hand, are dealing with serious issues on their offensive line, uncertainty at quarterback with J.J. McCarthy, and an aging backfield led by Aaron Jones. Trading Jefferson might be their reset button, a way to retool around Jordan Addison, load up on draft picks, and build from the trenches. Meanwhile, in Denver, there's a very real need for a true WR1. Cortland Sutton might have cracked 1,000 yards in 2025, but let's be honest, it wasn't an A season. 8 drops, declining explosiveness, and the feel of a veteran heading toward his final chapter in orange and blue. Sutton's still loved by fans, but the Broncos need more. They need a game changer. And guess what? Denver finished second in the league in drops in 2025, with 43. That's a stat that screams for an upgrade at wide receiver. Bringing in a dominant presence like Jefferson doesn't just elevate the offense, it resets the tone for the entire team. And this isn't just a fantasy. A trade scenario is absolutely within reach. The Broncos hold 9 picks in the upcoming draft. Yes, 9. That's plenty of capital to get creative. And as much as fans love their first-round picks, let's remember, if the Broncos become the powerhouse we all believe they can be, those picks will land late in the first round anyway. Somewhere between 25 and 32. So would you trade a late first in 2026 and another in 2027, plus a 4th-rounder and some cash? Because that's the proposed package to make this dream real. 2 first-rounders, a 4th-rounder, and the financial flexibility to sweeten the deal. That's the kind of offer that makes a GM lean in. Let's not forget the signs from Jefferson himself. His body language this past season spoke volumes. You saw the frustration on the field every time J.J. McCarthy took snaps. You heard it in interviews. Jefferson wants to win, and he wants to win now. He thrived with guys like Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins under center. He's not trying to wait around for a rebuild in Minnesota. This is a player who's ready to compete for championships, and Denver might just be the perfect destination. Everything about this feels like destiny waiting to unfold. The Broncos have the draft picks. They have the cap flexibility. They have the ownership willing to invest. They have the need. And more than anything, they have the fan base hungry for a star to reignite this franchise. The move would shake the NFL and instantly elevate Denver into contender status. It would bring a spark to the Mile High City that hasn't been seen in years. Let's dive right into it. If the Denver Broncos actually pulled the trigger on a trade for Justin Jefferson, what would that look like in Sean Payton's offensive system, and what would it mean for the rest of this receiving core? First off, you can forget about this being a plug-and-play addition. This would be a total shift in offensive identity. PAYTON, a mastermind when it comes to scheming dynamic passing attacks, would finally have that elite WR1 he's been missing since stepping into Denver. We've seen what PAYTON can do with top-tier receivers. Think back to his days with Michael Thomas in New Orleans. He maximized Thomas's size, route running, and ability to dominate the short and intermediate parts of the field. But Justin Jefferson, he's not limited to one area. He thrives in all zones, deep shots, intermediate routes, quick hitters, you name it. He demands extra coverage attention every snap, and that opens everything else up. What would that mean for the rest of the offense? It's simple, everyone gets better. Courtland Sutton, who's likely entering the twilight of his Broncos career, would shift into a more comfortable WR2 role, where he wouldn't face top corners or double teams nearly as often. That could extend his productivity and reduce the pressure on his aging frame. Marvin Mims Jr. would explode in the slot, with defenses forced to shift their focus toward Jefferson. Even the tight ends and running backs would benefit from lighter boxes and more open space underneath. This isn't just about adding a star, it's about reshaping the entire structure of the offense. You add Jefferson, and suddenly PAYTON can attack defenses in ways he simply couldn't before. No more relying on perfect play calls to get average players open. Now, you've got a guy who wins even when the defense does everything right. You've got a guy who tilts the field. And let's talk about the quarterback position for a second. Whether it's a veteran holding down the fort or a rookie coming in from the draft, having Justin Jefferson makes life dramatically easier. He's a quarterback's best friend. Need a bailout on third down? Jefferson. Need a spark when the game feels flat? Jefferson. Need a big play when you're backed up inside your own 10? Jefferson. He's not just a wide receiver, he's a momentum machine. He changes games. And for a team that's been stuck in the mud offensively in recent years, he's exactly the kind of catalyst they need. Now, let's zoom back out and talk big picture. If the Broncos make this trade, it's a clear signal to the rest of the league. Denver isn't rebuilding, they're reloading. And with the cap space, draft flexibility, and elite ownership willing to spend, the Broncos are one of the few teams that can realistically pull this off. You add Jefferson, and suddenly Denver becomes a top destination for free agents. Other players want to compete with stars. That's how you build a winning culture. But there's always a flip side. By making this move, the Broncos are sacrificing 2 first-round picks, which could be used to build long-term depth, potentially grab a future quarterback, or shore up the trenches. It's a risk, no question. If Jefferson were to get hurt, or if the QB situation doesn't click, this could backfire hard. But as we've seen over and over in this league, playing it safe rarely brings rings. Taking bold swings, like the Rams did with Stafford, like the Bucs did with Brady, like the Eagles did with A.J. Brown, that's how you go from middle of the pack to hoisting Lombardi trophies. And look, Broncos country knows pain. The post-Super Bowl 50 years have been rough. Missed playoff appearances, coaching turnover, quarterback chaos. It's been a long road. But imagine this, Justin Jefferson in orange and blue, catching bombs at mile high, torching AFC West secondaries, and putting this team back on the map. The Raiders, Chiefs, and Chargers wouldn't know what hit them. There's one more piece to this puzzle that we can't ignore, the fan base. Broncos fans are among the most passionate in the NFL. They've stood by this team through thick and thin. And bringing in a generational talent like Jefferson would light a fire under this city like we haven't seen in a decade. Jersey sales, ticket buzz, national media attention, it would all come roaring back. And if Denver starts the 2026 season hot with Jefferson making highlight plays every week, Broncos country would be louder than ever. So where do we land? Is this the missing piece? Is Justin Jefferson the key to unlocking the Sean Payton era and finally pushing Denver back into the Super Bowl conversation? You tell me, because this channel is all about the fans. Drop your comments below. Would you make the trade? Are you ready to give up 2 firsts, a 4th, and cash to land one of the greatest receivers?